Good morning, Bravehearts, and good morning, Garfield, New Jersey. Oh, come on. How come I never mute my phone before I go live? Welcome back to Marv in the Morning. How's everybody doing? Happy Monday, Bravehearts. Happy Monday, Bravehearts. It's a gloomy day outside here in New Jerusalem, but I'm in good spirits. Had a Mondo righteous weekend. One of the best weekends I've had in a long time, to be honest with you. If I'm being frank. Who came up with that? Who said that being frank is like being honest or blunt? Who said that? Who was it? A guy named Frank? There must have been this guy named Frank who just was like always brutally honest, like clear cut, straight to the point, brass tacks. Frank was like, you cannot get me to not be completely frank with you. Shout out to Frank, man. Shout out to Frank, whoever he is and whoever he was and whatever he achieved. I thank him. Because I say that jazz like every week. I'll be like, yeah, let me be frank with you. Even though I'm Marv, I'm going to be frank. Let's be frankly as possible with you. But yeah, shout out to Frank. And shout out to you for being here. You guys could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. I appreciate that. It's episode 27 of Marv in the Morning. Timestamps will be below if you're watching post live and you want to skip ahead to the meat and potatoes. But if this is your first time rocking with the best, subscribe, notification bell, thumbs up. Give it a thumbs up, yo, because we're covering something today. Yeah, something a little bit out of the ordinary. Even though we've been doing this only for about a month and a half now, but I'm still experimenting with the format and seeing what people like to see, what people want to watch. So I am definitely experimenting with reviewing particular podcast episodes. And today I'm going to be reviewing Kanye West's latest appearance on the Drink Champs podcast. I guess a thought came to me when actually I saw Rick Rubin was on Joe Rogan. And I would like it'd be really cool to just kind of like break it down and give my thoughts on particular podcast episodes. Not necessarily just to say what I consider to be a great podcast episode or what I consider to be a less par podcast episode, but just random thoughts, I guess, that come to me as I absorb the content, photosynthetically absorb it. But yeah, it was a great weekend. Got to pick up some of my old comic books from my cousin Jesse, who I gave them to him maybe like 10 years ago, I think. I had just given away all my graphic novels. I used to collect graphic novels like crazy in high school. I had them until I was about 23, and I think at 23, I just was like, I don't want to own anything anymore, man. I'm doing all this moving around and vagabond lifestyle that I just had to give away everything I owned, which I totally regret now that I have a giant studio that I could have like filled up my office with all this cool jazz. But at least I got this piece of the puzzle back. I got to pick up my own graphic novels from my cousin. He took pretty good care of them. This is Spider-Man Torment from Todd McFarlane. Todd McFarlane is mainly known for his art, but he had one little run, I guess, as a writer, or maybe more. I don't know his entire history. I know he wrote Spawn, but in Marvel world as a Spider-Man artist, he had this great run on Spider-Man, and the artwork is peak 90s comics greatness. A lot of people don't like the 90s art style comic books. I can't get enough of it. Maybe because I'm a 90s kid, but the 90s has been described as the worst era in comic books, which, with the reasons given, yeah, like I totally get it. But just look at this spread right here. Look at this. Iconic. When you see Spider-Man and he has those spaghetti webbing where everything is like gritty and grimy looking and the webs are like all tangled up and all over the place, that's Todd McFarlane style. Also the big eyes, those giant eyes on the mask that like come down to like almost his mouth, like his eye probably is like this wide. That's McFarlane. He came up with that art style. That was his style. That was his thing. And this is just two of them. I picked up like 40 of them, to be honest with you. But Frank Miller, Dark Knight Returns. Man, reading this. I remember ignoring a lot of my high school teachers because I was just sitting in the back reading this. And Good times, man. I remember even going to my girlfriend's mom's house. We were picking up something, and the whole time my face is in this book, and I'm not even paying attention to what they're talking about. But good times. Happy to have them back, and thank you, Jesse, for holding on to them and taking good care of them, and being willing to part with them too, man. Like, I appreciate that. What else did I do this weekend? I got to interview Tomorrow Never Promised, the rock band from out of Brooklyn, the progenitors of the dark grunge genre. Shout out to AJ. Shout out to Ryan for pulling up on me, coming up to the studio, chomping it up with me for a couple hours. That was a good time. And shout out to Osei for being my co-host on the episode. His first time interviewing somebody. He was a little bit nervous, but we rocked out. It definitely was a good time interviewing them. That episode will release not this Saturday, but the next one. And this Saturday is actually going to release the King Lex interview. And King Lex is a very good friend of mine. He's the head honcho over there in Factory Productions, and he also works with BC Music, which is a rehearsal space for bands. So any band that needs a rehearsal space, make sure you check out BC Music. They are also the shout out of today. Shout out to BC Music. They're the daily shout out. Let me show you a little bit of King Lex's life over here. Check it out. So yeah, as you can see, this is their rehearsal space, their stage room. This is for any bands looking to put on a show or do a rehearsal. This is Mondo Righteously the place to do it. This is the king himself right here. This was his birthday. I don't know if this was last year or this year, but yeah, man, shout out to King Lex. Absolutely love the guy. Definitely a legend. Definitely, look at this man. A legend, bro. A legend. Good morning, Tamika. How are you doing, my good friend? How are you doing? But yeah, shout out to King Lex. Definitely check out BC Music if you are a band looking for a rehearsal space. They're located in Clifton. And that's the original location of Bravery Studios, also in that building over there in Factory Productions. That is where Bravery Studio. No, well, Bravery Studio started in Patterson under a different name, and then moved to Clifton into that building, and became Bravery Studios in that building. So yeah, the building is part of the history of the history of my life as a creative, and also of the business itself too. Yo, we got Big Daddy Alucard in the chat. He said, "Sup, dude?" Yo, Big Daddy Alucard, how you doing, my brother? Big Daddy Alucard, the one who gifted me the one chip that is people have not stopped speaking about. Last night I was talking to my buddy Dave, and he just could not get over it. He said he watched it like 3 times. I'm like, Jesus. Yeah, shout out to you for watching me suffer like that over and over. But yeah, this Saturday, October 22nd, we're finally getting to the Ladies of Bravery event, the live podcast showcase that we're having here in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Illa's Girls Next Door, Spiritual Tip, the No Filter podcast, the 3 fully lady-driven podcasts are going to be doing their show live with an audience, talking to the crowd. It's going to be a great time. So we have tickets. We have the Eventbrite link is in the description. Get your tickets now. It's $10 online, but it's $5 at the door. So, get your tickets now and pull up over here. And if you're subscribed, you get $5 off at the door. There's only $5 at the door because I didn't know how to really exactly work it from online to show proof that you subscribe to the Bravery Studios YouTube channel. But at the door, if you're subscribed to the Bravery Studios YouTube channel and you're paying cash at the door, then you will get $5 off of the ticket price. Shout out to Commissioner Kelvin in the chat. What up, Commish? I totally embarrassed myself when you put down that post about what song takes you back, and I put down the wrong artist. I looked at it the next morning. I'm like, oh, why'd I do that? Alucard Jr. says, "One chip, one memory," and there's Dave right there. Oh yeah, loved every tear. I bet, dude. I bet. I got great content on the internet. If you ever want to meet me, go ahead. Go find that one chip video. And you don't even need to apply filters. Just go ahead, use that. But I guess let's get to the meat and potatoes. Let's get right into the meat and potatoes today. Um, I'm glad you liked it, Kelvin. Let's get into the meat and potatoes. We're going to be discussing Kanye West's third appearance on Drink Champs. And let me know your thoughts in the chat if you watched it or listened to it. But I was watching it yesterday. I always, I'm mainly a YouTube guy for podcasts. I like putting it on a big screen and multitasking, doing other work. So I have it playing as I'm editing, as I'm doing other stuff. And, oh, man, seeing Kanye, listening to Kanye, kind of like the devolution of someone you used to admire, dude. Like, just hearing him name drop with every sentence, going every direction with his speech, and kind of Nori and EFN just kind of sitting back and just letting him spew for like 3 hours. And it was bad, man. It was bad, and it's career ending. I guess he's been at that point already where he has said so much career ending things, but I think this one might be the one that breaks the camel's back. I think the name dropping, I think the going in on the anti-Semitic statements, I think, man, I think my overall thought process watching that was, I love Nori. I love Drink Champs. Drink Champs is the podcast that got me into podcasting. But dude, it seems like you guys set up a circus for people to come watch this man clown himself for 3 hours. It seems like you guys knew that, or everyone must know at this point, that this is not a man who's healthy mentally. And you just know he's going to go off the handle and say all this wild jazz. And you just give him a microphone and just let him stew for 3 hours and let him just rant and rave and go. And for 3 hours, man, it's like, dude, I don't know, man. I don't know if that was like the plan all along, but there are moments in the podcast where they're trying to, Nori and EFN are trying to clear up what Kanye is saying, because the common consensus is that Kanye does have good points, but he just doesn't know how to express them. So they're trying to interpret what he's saying into something that won't get him in trouble. But man, you guys knew that this man's not in a good place mentally, and you guys gave him a platform to just kind of rant and rave. And they're not the only ones doing it. I've seen that he's been on other shows and he's done other media where he's kind of just went off on everything for hours. But man, it whomps to see someone that you used to admire kind of reach this place of, I can't even listen to him speak. I didn't even make it through the entire episode. I'm not even really sure if it's a whole 3 hour. I know it's longer than an hour. I think it's an hour and a half at minimum. But at some point, I feel like as a podcaster, having a platform, having an audience, at some point, I feel like you have a responsibility to the people that you put on your show, the guests, to kind of save their lives a little bit, I guess, is the main gist of it. We got DJ Derek in the chat, DJ Didi. How was Disneyland, bro? I heard Disneyland is pretty rough for the fathers, so let me know your review down there, so I can let Dave know not to go to Disneyland. But yeah, Tamika, I watched about an hour and a half of it. What did you think, Tamika? I feel like you can't give Kanye a platform anymore. You can't, because it's for his own safety. Because the man is not well mentally, and who knows if what he's saying is really how he feels, or if this is some like just moment of mental breakdown you caught him in, right? You caught him in this moment where he's having a mental breakdown, and you give him a microphone and let him just rant and rave for about 3 hours. But yeah, I had to cut it off after an hour and a half. I was like, I can't hear this no more, man. It's like, and I don't even think that Nori was enjoying it either. I think Nori does consider Kanye a friend. I think he does try to save him a couple times. But giving him a platform at this point when he's going through these episodes, giving him a stage to kind of dance around and go nuts is like, it's like parading him around. It's almost like you're just parading him around as a circus for everyone to watch and point and laugh. Like, look how crazy this guy can get on the microphone for 3 hours. Ooh, Erica, happy to see you here. 3 hours and 100 plus times of dropping the J word later. Shakeman, what a shame. He definitely going through a manic episode. Yeah, like at that point, I feel like as a podcaster, you have a responsibility to your guests, man. You have to kind of present them in a better light, especially if there's someone you consider your friend. Let's say for an instance, my good friend, and I have experienced moments where I'm like, I gotta shelter my friends because I know what they're going through is going to be presented in a bad light to other people. It's gonna come off. They're gonna come off looking extremely bad. Yes, he shouldn't be on any platform in this state of mind. And I feel like you guys presented him and you created a circus for people to point and laugh at him. I have friends that I would not let be presented in that fashion, where I wouldn't, hey, even if this thing would get me, tons of interactivity, tons of content out of it, I just feel like, nah, man, it's not worth making this person that I consider my friend look bad. And that's how I kind of feel. I love Nori. Like I said, I think Derek was actually the one that introduced me to Drink Champs. Derek definitely was the one that introduced me to Drink Champs. And that was the first podcast I ever really checked out, ever. Mainly because of Nori, because you grow up listening to the guy's music, and he already had an awesome personality. I think Nori has the coolest lingo on planet Earth. I kind of like try to emulate Nori and just create him random lingo like that I think sounds cool, and just hoping somebody repeats it, and then it's like, yes, it is objective accomplished. Nori has an awesome lingo, and I just love hearing him, and I loved watching him become a journalist over the course of this podcast. There was a point where I completely gave up on checking it out. I stopped watching it, and I think that first Kanye appearance got me back into it, because it feels like Kanye's first appearance on there gave them like a second wind. But yeah, at this point, man, I really feel like take the mic away from this guy, bro, because you're only sparing him you're sparing him from saying anything that could make anything worse. Jordan Peele made an entire episode about it. We have an obsession with spectacle. I feel super strong about having Kanye blacklisted from everything like Andrew Tate. Good morning. I've been watching the morning episodes. I'm happy to hear that, Erica. And I hope we can make that interview happen. Trying to get Erica back over here. And alongside with Mina, I want her to come back too, so we can do a unlimited time, a podcast with unlimited time, because I really want to get into all the beers. Yeah, I want to give you more time to shine there. But we have Alex the Hill in the chat too. He says he really needs someone to sit down and talk to him and see where his mind is at, because it feels like he's alone and dealing with, Alex, what I think, man, I think that there are people. I mean, this guy is loved by millions of people. He's about as famous as Elvis, if not more. Probably more. Definitely more, right? There's people who love him that want to help him, but in his state of mind, I think that getting close to him is like putting your hand in a bear trap, because he's going to eventually go off on you. I think many people have distanced themselves and said, hey, I've tried, but what are you gonna do at this point? He's not well mentally, so it's sad. It's just sad to see someone that you admire be reduced to, like what Erica said, a spectacle. It's I've heard that the whole movie Nope is about spectacle, and I think that's what it was. It was a spectacle, you know. And it's almost the complete opposite of what I would say happened on Joe Rogan when he appeared, cuz I feel like Joe was trying to be too friendly to Kanye, not honest with him. Like I said, there are moments in the episode where EFN and Nori are trying to clear up what he's saying, because Kanye's what the biggest excuse they make for him is that he does have his points, but it's just he doesn't know how to express them properly. But you gave him a microphone, man. You put that thing in front of him and you said go, and you can tell that they're just Nori is sitting back for a lot of the episode and just listening, man, listening. Yo, it's also about the tempo. You as a podcaster control the flow, and you should know what should be aired, especially if you're not live. Bingo. If it's a pre-recorded thing, dude. And you knew you were in for something when the beginning of the episode, which I don't know if it's ever done that before, but right at the beginning they gave a disclaimer. I don't know if I pay attention enough to know if that's been on more episodes, but that was the first time I ever saw a disclaimer on Drink Champs. The first time. I have never seen a disclaimer on Drink Champs. Jeff says, I don't like that they were having him drink. That too. Like, dude, come on. I love Nori, bro. I love Drink Champs, but come on, bro. Like I said, you set up a spectacle. You set up a circus for people to point and laugh at this guy. He couldn't even get through Quick Time with Slime with him. He couldn't even get through it. He couldn't even get through Quick Time with Slime. And in my 7 years of doing podcasting, in the podcasting realm, there are certain people on this planet that can be credited with thousands of pieces of content over the internet. What do I mean by that, right? What does that even mean? Kanye West is the type of guy that the minute he opens his mouth and says something wild, it's like a wave in a stadium. You know, when people put their hands up and then hands down in a wave fashion. Like YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, TikTok now, you see ripples of content of people just eat what I'm doing right now at this very moment. He is a talking piece for. He gives us content. He is one of those people that the minute he does anything, the internet is fed. We are all fed, right? Because you know, if you're monetizing what you're doing, and you need the content, a dry news week, Kanye is here to save the day. The hero of every content creator on this planet. Our own personal Jesus for content creation, right? Where even if you're not even in that realm of hip hop or music based, he is speaking on things that are outside of that realm as well. So you have been granted content as well. If you're a political podcast, congratulations. Here's a spectacle for you to comment on, for you to say your 2 cents on. Me personally, I give podcasting tips, all right? And here we go. I'm over here reviewing the first person ever to get a review on this show, celebrity-wise, I guess, because I reviewed DX's Brothers podcast. He gave me content for today. I didn't know what I was going to do a podcast about. I didn't know what I was going to do an episode on today. And boom goes the dynamite. We'll be right back with a battery change. too. Taking notes for the episode. Definitely led me to forget to change the battery this morning. I gotta get the plug-in wire for that camera for sure. But absolutely, positively, this man feeds so many people across the internet. This was dope for dramatic purposes. I know, I'm actually gonna make it into a gimmick. Like, maybe if you stick around when the battery dies, if you catch one of these episodes, you'll be entered into a raffle to win a free appearance on Marv in the Morning. You just have to bring coffee. But no, dude, yeah, man. Kanye feeds the internet. He keeps us our stomachs full with content, right? Do a Kanye episode, get millions of views, listens, whatnot. Get the money out of it from advertising. But yeah, at that point, we're feeding. I don't even know how I want to express that. I like the little guitar riff when the camera went off. Yeah, I think I fell in love with that riff. That's actually from a video game, and it does fit the show perfectly. Marv starts speaking the truth, and his camera dies. They are onto him. Kanye knows for a fact. But yeah, I think you have a responsibility on your platform, man. I think you have a responsibility to your friends, because I think Nori does consider Kanye his friend. Kanye probably considers Nori his friend. You absolutely positively have a responsibility to it. You have a responsibility to not let your friend kind of commit career suicide. Now the other thing is, if he doesn't do it there, he'll probably do it somewhere else, and he's probably gonna always find somewhere to do it. He's been deplatformed, I believe. He's not on Twitter, not on Instagram anymore. So, like, what is his end game? I wonder, like, what does he want? And that's the point I couldn't figure out either. I couldn't figure that out either, my friend. I don't know what the end game is. I don't know what point he's trying to make. I don't know what he's fighting for. But I sympathize with whatever issue he's having up here. I don't know anything about his financials. I don't know about his business dealings. I don't know anything that I could ever. I'm not a billionaire. I don't know what I could help you with in those places. But I know that if I was this guy's friend, I would try to help him with what he's going through internally. It seems like a lot of things, but it's all over the place. Yo, dude. I'm trying to figure out where to even go with this point that I'm trying to make. But I think a hiatus, I think it might be in order for him. I think he might need that. And I think that we may need to all, as content creators, take a hiatus from it as well. Because I feel like we feed into it. Even what I'm doing right now is kind of feeding into it. Kind of like where if you stop paying attention to it, it might go away. Maybe just like a timeout. Because realistically, I can't say I agree or disagree with anything he's saying, because I don't know anything about any of those things that he's talking about. He went off on Diddy, right? But he's on Diddy's platform. Revolt is owned by Diddy. Am I not correct there? And Revolt, Drink Champs is a podcast under Revolt. So even Diddy is like, hey, yes, let him bad talk me on my platform, cause it's worth the views. It's worth the content is worth it. Say what you want about Diddy, but he's a smart businessman. He knows what he's doing. Yeah, I'll let this guy bad talk me on my own platform. It's gonna generate tons of views and listens and clicks. Revolt is indeed owned by Diddy. Yeah, so Why didn't Diddy stop him? Why did Diddy let him badmouth him on his own show, on his own platform? Because it's worth the clicks, worth the views. Look at what he did to Diddy. LMAO. That's what happens to friends that try to help him. Yeah, Diddy. I think he interpreted Diddy's help as the powers that be sending one of my own to try to calm me down, to tame me. He's like, they always send one of your own. They probably do, but I think in that situation, that may not have been that situation there. But overall, I think he needs like a little timeout, man. Timeout from the cameras, and it may not even help. And I grew up in like a church. I grew up going to church like all the time. I had a very religious mother. I was of my 5 brothers and sisters, I was the one my mom dragged to church the most. Maybe because I put up the least amount of fight. I probably put up the least amount of fight. But, you know, they have Christian artists who at some point, a lot of artists that make Christian music retort back to making just regular music. I forgot the term for it. Is it pagan music? I don't know. Whatever. But I think I asked the pastor one time, like, dude, what happens to an artist's music when he stops making Christian music? Like, do you guys stop playing it, stop listening to it? Is it like canceled? Like, I don't know. I didn't use the word canceled, but I forgot how I asked him it. But what he said to me was, the music loses its. I think he said it loses its spiritual energy. I think that's what he said. This is like 20 years ago. I don't even know. But I think now when I hear a Kanye song after all that's been said and done, I think it has had that same effect. I think Kanye's antics has diluted the music. It's diluted what his career was about. Even before when I was setting up this show, I was listening to a lot of Kanye this morning just to get me in that, in spirits. And it doesn't hit anymore. Kanye needs help. What up, B? Yeah. I feel like the music's not gonna hit anymore after all this circus is over and done with. If it's ever over and done with, the music is not hitting. It's not coming through, man. And I think that's what we ultimately just want, right? We just want good music out of this. For as much of a battle he put up just to get accepted in the fashion world, I think the fashion world has actually chewed him up and spit him out already. Maybe at his own, because of his own like mistakes that he's made, or bridges that he's burnt on his own. I think that I'm going to end it with just saying and reiterating what I've been saying a lot throughout this episode, is that as a podcaster, as someone who has a platform, as someone who invites guests onto his show, I had King Lex here. I recorded King Lex last Saturday. I had Tomorrow Never Promised the day after. I even had Diablo, an exotic dancer, here. People of all walks of life, I will bring on my platform. And even if I don't know them that well, even if that's my first meeting with them, which with everyone so far, I've known them before the interview. Marco Dobre was about the only one that me talking to him on the podcast was the first time I ever really interacted with him. But I have a responsibility to these guests just to make them look good. I didn't bring them here to create a circus around them. There is a lot of editing in what I do. I was editing Tomorrow Never Promises episode this morning before the show. Not that they said anything that would make them look bad, but my editing is to make them look even better. To kind of just get the best moments out of this and make them look as great as possible. And I think what happened on Drink Champs over the weekend or whenever it was recorded, it was created to get this guy to say the worst things possible and just kind of give him a circus to kind of perform and do his tricks, jump through a flaming hula hoop. Even if there was a little bit of, let's try to clear up what he's saying, I think it still was a flaming hula hoop you guys are putting him through. I have no sympathy. LMAO. I suffer from mental health issues along with so many others and have never said anything remotely close to what he said. That's why you're a great podcast host. I appreciate that, and I try. But it's like having a dog that has bit someone on the street. You have a pet that is the friendliest pet with you, and you love your pet. I'm not comparing Kanye to an animal now, but I'm comparing the situation, right? Of course. That dog bites someone on the street as you're walking him by mistake. He just bites somebody. You know, they'll put that dog down. I believe in New Jersey law they would have to put the dog down. And like that would just break my heart. Like, oh, hey, I'm getting teary-eyed just thinking about it. And I think that's how I feel in this situation. Like, man, you will not believe the emotional, the moments of like stress and turmoil and angst as a teenager, and putting on something like College Dropout, and it's like, and then watching his story and kind of like saying to yourself, like, this guy made it, and he made it through the fire and flames with just creativity, passion, and drive. And that makes me feel like I can do it. Who knows? Like, some of what I achieved, it's a homogeny of everything that I've experienced, and a lot of what I've experienced is a lot of great music from Kanye West, a lot of great videos, a lot of emotion. I mean, damn, like this is somebody I admired. I don't know him as a person, as a human. I never shook hands with him. I've never had a conversation with him. I've seen the wild things he's done in the news. I don't blame that on any specific moment in his life. I think he just was always like this. I don't blame it on his mother's death. I don't blame it on... There's no excuse for what he is. He just is what he is, I think. But the content, the music, the visuals, the art. Goddamn, can you take that away from that guy? Can you throw all that away because he just is what he is? Now Parler app is saying that Ye is trying to buy and he's a billionaire. With $1 billion, Kanye, buy your own, create your own jazz, bro. Create your own YouTube and your own or pay someone to do it for you. $1 billion, can you lose $1 billion? Can you, at that point, is it self-perpetual, your money, like that? Is it self-perpetual that like what you're doing doesn't really matter? If you could spend $1 million a day. Also, don't get me wrong, Kanye is one of my favorite musicians of all time. I have almost all his albums on vinyl. Disappointment built up for some time, and this is the line. Yeah, this is definitely... I agree. Watching this, I felt like this is probably the last time I'm going to listen to this guy speak. I know people have come to that conclusion probably earlier than me, but this was it. This was definitely Me cutting it off after an hour and a half definitely was me saying, "That's it, man. I can't hear this guy talk anymore. I can't do it." And also me disappointed in Drink Champs because like it's my favorite podcast. It's the podcast that got me into podcasting. So like it's just disappointment all around. You know what I mean? It's just disappointment all around the board. I'm like, damn, that's it. This is probably the last time I want to hear this guy say anything. I've already stopped listening to like the newer music after like I think the last time I really listened to a Kanye album was like Life of Pablo. I think was the last time I really liked the music. And there's still some stuff on Life of Pablo that I can go without. I can be like, no. But yeah, this is the line. I agree with Erica. This is definitely the line for me as well. Uh, and where do you go even from here? Drink Champs as a podcast. I don't know. I don't have the answers. I'm just the question, right? But guys, this has been a like I imagined this was gonna be a bittersweet, somber edition of Marv in the morning. The weather outside kind of matched the energy today, or even created it. Sometimes when I get to the studio in the morning and I just, are just checking out the weather on the way here, I kind of know how things are gonna go on the episode. Uh, but yeah, dude, bittersweet. If this is your first time watching, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Give the video a thumbs up if you like what you're seeing and hearing. Notification bell if you want to be notified when I go live every morning, 9 a.m. And yeah, man. What else can you say? What else can you say? What more can I say? And I think Kill Jay-Z off that 444 album. I think there's a whole line, or actually a whole verse. Even that song, I don't think it even has a chorus. I think that song is just straight bars across the map, start to finish. He says, "You dropped out of school, you lost your principal." I think he's talking about Kanye, the college dropout. He said you gave him 20 million. He gave you 20 minutes on stage. What was he thinking? Got mad because you did "Cool" by Ye. Yeah, man. I think that whole jazz is about Kanye, and I think and how old is that album already? 2017, I think that came out. To have imagined the people that he rose with, that he came up with, that kind of made him who he is today. For as much as us as fans are disappointed, just imagine the people that put him on, that he became bigger than. Anyway, thanks for watching, Bravehearts. I'll see you tomorrow. Keep on keeping on.